Why I hate that I love this PSG team, man. For my money, they are the best team, at least the best team to watch in Europe. Of course, they've just beaten Aston Villa 3-1 in the Champions League. Now, I'm going to get into why I hate this team in just a moment. But context, there was 2 Champions League games tonight, Wednesday, the 9th of April. For context, one was Dortmund against Borussia Dortmund. It was Barcelona against Borussia Dortmund. I knew Barcelona were going to dominate them. Dortmund have been out of sorts this season, very, very poor. Barcelona, of course, are a powerhouse, probably going to win La Liga. But PSG versus Aston Villa, yeah. So, firstly, PSG are good. They've won their league already and they're undefeated, but there's never actually been an invincible season in France, rather interestingly. So you think, okay, they're incredible. And we know they're incredible. We've watched them. But Unai Emery, his record in knockout European games is incredible. And the team, his Aston Villa team, is very good. The players that he now has at his disposal since disposal since January are very, very good players. It's a good Aston Villa team. He's allowed to play reactive, pragmatically, counter-attack against this kind of team. And we know that's how this PSG can be undone, if anyway. So we thought, right, it's an interesting matchup. PSG are the favourites, but out of the 2 games, this is the one to watch. And it ends 3-1. 2-1 would have been a good result for Villa because, of course, they're away at the Parc des Princes against the favourites. We're going to look at the stats. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on these players, these PSG players, in a moment. But, they could still take them back to Villa Park, learn from this game. Unai Emery can cook up a game plan, and, there's a chance. 3-1, it seems real tough. Now, listen. Okay, firstly, PSG, right? They've been a bit of a banter club in recent years since they were taken over by the Qataris because they've tried to go for this Galactico, model. It's been a bit yucky because, of course, it's this state-owned sports washing project, soft power play, whatever, vanity project, all state-owned club stuff. It isn't the nicest thing in the world. Let's just sort of put that out there. Not having a dig at the PSG fans. Great fan base, superb ultras. Despite the club being quite young, they have this die-hard fan base. I think the club was formed in the 70s or something, quite new. But they've got this die-hard fan base, really great support, really good fan base ultras and stuff. But, ownership, geopolitical stuff aside, there was something quite, unpalatable about them, spending vulgar amounts on transfer fees, spending vulgar amounts on, wages, inflating the transfer market over and over again. And then they had that final, Galactico model of, Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, Ramos, whoever, Ronaldo, all the other players they bought just didn't work. And that was the final straw. And they've gone and they've built a real team. And of course, there's the reasons I said just a second ago, that's unsavoury. Also, I'm a Chelsea fan. We met him in the Champions League a few times, and there was this sort of clash. London versus Paris as well. But I tell you what, man. I'm going to show you the stats from this particular game. They have built a team. They have got superstars. They've got superstars. The attackers, Ousmane Dembele, he's a superstar. Desiree Doué is on the rise. Bradley Bacola also, they sort of bought within France. The superstar they've bought outside, of course, was Kvaratskhelia, who's won the Scudetto, the MVP in Italy. So he's like the superstar, but he hasn't got an ego. He works incredibly hard. He tracks back, he tackles. He doesn't throw his arms up in the air. He's not selfish. He helps his teammates. And that sets the tone for the entire team. So PSG have gone from this Galactico model to essentially looking within their own, footballing system. Obviously, they've got this Portuguese midfield, but there's so much immense attacking French talent in France. They were like, well, let's look within. Look at Bacola, Desiré Doué, Ousmane Dembele, all incredible French attackers. And yes, they It's not just the goal, because the thing is, they do these flashy, amazing attacking moments, but they don't do it to show off like maybe Neymar did or Mbappe at times. They do it because it's the most intelligent and efficient way to manipulate the ball. You know, when they drag the foot over the ball, or they do a Cruyff turn, or like a Zidane roulette, or whatever you want to call it. It's because it's not to look good, it's because this is the best way to manipulate the ball here, and we're good enough to do that. But there's a humility to them. They work incredibly hard. They defend as a unit. They attack as a unit. Their pressing is amazing. Their counter-pressing is amazing. Their passing is immaculate. And they obviously don't play without a striker. And strikerless systems, of course, Guardiola did it with Raheem Sterling. One season, won the league in the Premier League. But generally, the false nine thing, of course... Klopp's Liverpool when they had Roberto Firmino, but that was still very this direct transitional thing. This is just free-flowing, super pressing, high-octane football, and they are the best team to watch in Europe. So I told you the unsavory. I always used to laugh and enjoy PSG's downfall, but in this game, I haven't got if it was like Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, Man City, or whatever, you Schadenfreude, as a Chelsea fan, I'd enjoy the rivals losing. But Aston Villa are like eminently likable for me. And a few years ago, if you said to me, right, Aston Villa are playing Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, they're playing PSG, I'd be like, I'd do anything for a Villa win. I'd do anything for them to beat them, man. But actually, Villa spend a lot of money. They've got a good manager now. They're fighting for Champions League. They're in the Champions League. Not that I don't dislike Villa. I'd love for them to win the Champions League. But there's something so likable and entertaining about this PSG team. I'm not criticising Villa for not playing like that. Villa, with what's available to them, they're doing the right thing to play reactive football. But when you watch this PSG team play like that, and again, they're not just doing flicks and tricks for the sake of it, for ego. They're doing it because they're just the best at football, and it's exciting. And I don't want to go too mental, because I've just watched a few games in the Champions League, maybe 1 or 2 Ligue 1 games, but I prefer watching this kind of a football than I did, Pep Guardiola's amazing Man City that are really automatons. I always forget that word. This is way more exciting for me personally. And like I said, I've got no reason to love PSG. Attacking, this is sofa score, attacking momentum. As you can see, it's all PSG. I mean, they're definitely worthy of 3-1. Rodgers, I'll talk about the goals in just a moment because they're the Kvaratskhelia, Kvaradona absolutely tearing it up. Let's look at the lineup, shall we? So, Emi Martinez, Cash came off, Disasi, Chelsea loanee came on, had a rough start, but then settled into the role a little bit better. Konza, Pau Torres, Luca Digne, Kamara and Tielemans, McGinn, Rodgers, Ramsey, Rashford, quite functional. No Ollie Watkins or Marco Asensio there. Quite functional, let's be reactive, let's use speed, let's try and release Rodgers and Rashford. And then what can you say about this PSG team? I mean, Pacho and Beraldo didn't get that high ratings like Donnarumma because they didn't have anything to do really. Nuno Mendes, amazing goal at the end as well. This is the left back, bro. These fullbacks, Mendes and Hakimi, are just insane quality. Vitinha, who was on loan at Wolves a few years ago, amazing. Him and Neves, amazing. And Ruiz in the midfield, replaced by Zaire Emery, came on, and Gonzalo Ramos came at the very end. But it's the 4 attackers. Bradley Buckler came on for Kvaratskhelia, but Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, and Desiree Doué. A lot of people were like, wow, Doué starting over Buckler, who's obviously done very, very well this season, Bradley Buckler. But we know how amazing. Both Buckler and Doué were bought within Liga from one team to another. Ousmane Dembele obviously started in France, went to Germany, went to Barcelona, eventually comes back to France to PSG. But such a plethora of immense talent. Just for context, guys, let's look at the stats, shall we? Only 1.94 expected goals, which is strong, but you'd think maybe they'd carve out more, but they scored 3 goals, but they're amazing superstar finishes, so no wonder at all they overachieve their expected goals. 29 shots, only 1 big chance, so that's testament to Villa. So this is the thing, another team, would have got absolutely violated here. But Villa were just taking punches over and over and over. And what I mean by taking punches is taking 29 shots, but only conceding one big chance. And look, they conceded one big chance each. It's only because, PSG are playing so immaculately in the offensive phase and they've got these superstar finishers that out of one big chance, they scored 3 amazing goals. 8 saves from Martinez to 1 Donnarumma. 800. So it's not just the shots, guys. 840 passes to 271. Is that 3 times as much? It's a lot. Certainly more than double. Yeah, is that 3 times as much? Anyway, it's a lot. Yeah, it's an incredible, really. So let's timeline this thing. Morgan Rogers, after a big, emphatic start from PSG, scores a goal. It's a counter-attack, really efficient counter-attack from... And this was the game plan from Villa. Soak up the pressure. Don't let them have, let them have their shots, but don't give them a high XG and not many big chances. That went to plan, and then score on the break. And they got the first goal in the 35th minute, and you think, yeah, not again PSG, like the Liverpool game in France, dominate, but then concede, who knows, maybe even lose. It was a good goal. Great from the counter-attack, great from McGinn. It eventually gets to Tielemans, who plays it across to Morgan Rogers, back post, tap in. It was classic clinical counter-attack, that few mechanisms, and you just basically tap it in. And that is the sort of way to undo this PSG team, catching them cold, and when there's spaces. But it didn't last long, because Nuno Mendes assisting Desiree Doué, who has such a good goal. How he finishes it. Obviously, almost all of you would have seen the game, if not the game, the highlights. If you haven't seen that, seek it out. It's an amazing goal from Desiree Doué. That what he's doing with how he's moving the ball. After this, he did like a Cruyff turn and then a roulette and then nearly scored again. In 19-year-old winger, he kept swapping sides with Kvaratskhelia. Next up, Kvaratskhelia himself scores an absolute wonder goal. Ruiz assist. And again, it's just an absolute beauty of a whipped finish. And Ousmane Dembele, who did really well, but was probably struggling the most out of the starting front three, because obviously he has to occupy more of a false 9 role. They all switch around, but he gets a goal involvement. He assists at the very end in the stoppage time, 92nd minute. Nuno Mendes, who gets the ball, cuts back, sits down like the defender and the goalkeeper and just chips it in. It's an amazing finish from a freaking left back, bro. Do you know what I mean? They're all amazing. I don't want to be swooning too much over them, but I mean, just look at these attacking ratings and Vitinha in midfield. Just look at quickly heat maps. So Kvaratskhelia, played on both sides. Desiree Doué, played on both sides. And Ousmane Dembele, largely central, but still licensed to drift around. No one really in the box. That's the thing. That's the thing here. This is classic no striker play. Because I looked at like heat maps of Osimhen the other day. He does drop around here and there, but his dark red is literally just outside or in the 6-yard box. He's there to finish goals, which is one way of playing football. But you don't know what to do with this PSG team. You don't know who to pick up. They keep moving. They were well worth. I know they got less than 3 XG, but just how they dominate that game. Villa did very well. And if Villa got out of there over 2-1 loss, they'd be like, job done. Thank you very much. Out of the Parc des Princes, that atmosphere. 1 goal down. We've shown that we can score against them. We need to analyse this and capitalise off it more at our gaff. 3-1 down's tough. But yeah, PSG were worth 3-1, man. They're just so good to watch. I didn't watch the Borussia Dortmund-Barcelona game. I think they lost 4-0. Let me just double check that before. I don't want to be too... Yeah, they lost 4-0 away, but that tie's done, isn't it? Goals from Yamal, a brace from Lewandowski and Rafinha. Usual suspects, kind of a expected result, but boy howdy, this PSG team, dare I say, are favourites with Barcelona to win this tie. Of course, Inter look like no mugs. Inter look like they can... I do think Arsenal, of course, they did so well to beat Real Madrid. It was 2 free kicks from Declan Rice that ultimately... I know it was a great goal from Mourinho, but at that point, Real Madrid were like, what's happening to us? And I think Real Madrid have been bad lately. Not to denigrate Arsenal, amazing achievement for them, but I think I think Barcelona or PSG are favourites, and then it was sort of between Arsenal and Inter after that, if you ask me. Inter do look super canny and very like streetwise in terms of getting these ties won. So it'd be so interesting. It's an amazing Champions League campaign, to be honest. Let me know what you think, guys. Please do subscribe, comment, and like this video. Daily uploads, sometimes multiple uploads on this channel like today. So do keep it locked. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you very soon. Enjoy the football.